Welcome to week number 10 of the Mom is a Fit week-by-week pregnancy update. I am currently 10 weeks pregnant. I'm feeling a little bit better. So if you are pregnant, like me, head down to the notes below and let us know how you're feeling, because I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Welcome to week number 10 of hopefully like a 39-week long pregnancy. We will see. It would probably be 41 or 42 weeks. But Roxanne, what is going on with baby in week number 10? Nearing the end of the first trimester. The relief is near. What's going on with baby?
So week 10, baby is the size of a Polly Pocket, or what does your app say?
A kumquat. I didn't know what a kumquat was for a really long time.
We've eaten the kumquat. Our mom tricked us. She gave it to us and was like, it's really sweet.
It's a tiny orange.
It's just a tiny orange. I grew this. So she was like, hee hee. And we ate it. And we're like, that was disgusting.
It was really sour.
It was, so maybe it wasn't ripe. I don't know if maybe a kumquat is supposed to be sweet, and she just got us a bad one. So then our husbands came over and we're like, eat this tiny orange. It's so delicious. And they're like, oh my God, what was that? And then recently my mom was like, oh yeah, Lily saw the kumquats in the backyard and she ate one. And I was like, oh, it's really good. And she spit it out. She said it was really gross. And she's like, Harmony made me eat it. It was yucky. And so my mom's still continuing.
I know. Our mom is this tiny Korean lady, and so it's really funny when she plays jokes on people.
Because she can't contain it until the end. She can't deliver the punchline.
So baby is the size of a Polly Pocket or a
kumquat,
very sour
which I feel
kumquat.
like a kumquat's not the same, but maybe
Whatever.
maybe I'm just misremembering the size. But baby is no longer an embryo. Baby is now a fetus. We've upgraded from embryo to fetus. I mean, you always probably
What's the
considered
Pokemon
it
thing? It
a
evolved.
baby. Oh yeah, it evolved.
It's not a Bulbasaur anymore. It's whatever came next.
Who remembers what the middle stage is? I never remember.
I remember I did do the chameleon or
Charizard.
Charizard is the biggest one because it's the lizard. We have a Charmander, the salamander. And then it's Carmeleon, which is a chameleon.
Oh.
So it's salamander, chameleon, lizard.
So we were a salamander.
Now we are
There was a
we are
Charmander, whatever
Pregnancy
the first
brain
one.
is
Whatever
tough.
the next. I'm not even
Anyways.
pregnant. I have zero excuse. Postpartum.
We have evolved our Pokemon.
Our
to
Pokemon
a
has
fetus.
evolved from embryo to fetus. But again, it was probably a baby the whole time to you. So it's the same. But it's a milestone week because week 10, you're out of the critical period for some of the organs, not all of them, but some of the organs for development. So all of the organs are formed, but they're not fully developed. So still a critical period for like the spinal cord, which is kind of important. The spinal cord is still developing, so you're not out of the window just yet, but like the organs, like the heart, the limbs, the kidneys, those are all formed, not, again, fully developed, but formed. But that spinal cord is still developing, so still critical time period. So last week, your fingers and toes were all webbed. Now, they're not webbed. No longer like a little frog, webbed feet and hands. Now they are fingers and toes. So now if you get an ultrasound at week 10, you'll see the fingers kind of move, as well as more than just like, before it was like their body would just do this. Now like their limbs, because their limbs have a little bit more cartilage, because I said the limbs are somewhat formed now. The cartilage is forming more within the bones, the legs and the arms. So now if you get an ultrasound, your body, like the baby is like moving more of it, not just doing this like little dolphin move.
I want everyone to appreciate Roxanne's mermaid
limbs. And then lastly, the head is still huge, still real big, 50% of their body. Eventually it'll like kind of even out, but still half of their body is their head because their brain is still forming, their spinal cord's still forming. So like we want it to be big, but don't be alarmed when you see your baby on the ultrasound. It won't be
It
that.
Evens out.
Yeah,
It looks
won't
proportional.
Be 50% of their body when
it
they're
looks
born.
proportional.
For you, first trimester is coming closer to an end. It's still very there. So if you are still feeling a ton of morning sickness, fatigue, shortness of breath, all of those symptoms, hopefully they're starting to get better, but likely you might still be in the throes of all of those things, of the nausea, the fatigue, where you just want to take a lot of naps throughout the day, maybe feeling shortness of breath, just like walking around. Some heartburn might have started and hasn't started yet. You might be having that diarrhea or constipation. Like, which one is it? Who knows? It's like a Russian roulette of which one you get. GI roulette. And then maybe even some like mood swings. Because again, those pregnancy hormones can do a lot on our mental portion of our body. Mood swings where you're super happy one moment and then just really angry the next moment.
I don't have any mood swings.
No.
I'm very calm and content at all times.
Super level-headed at
During
all times.
Every phase of life.
But that's really it that's going on with you. Let us know in the comments below if you're feeling any of the first trimester symptoms still, or if they seem to be getting better, or if you're experiencing one that I didn't share about. Let us know as well. But Gina, obviously, because this is about you, how are you doing
This is about
in week 10?
Within my no mood swings. I actually have a little bit more energy this week, so I actually did get to work out, which is exciting. I pretty much took the past month or so off, so I am also very sore because I maybe did a little bit too much. So I've been trying to ease into it, lighter weights than I normally do because, again, I've taken a month off. There's a little bit of deconditioning that happens when you do that. And I will just kind of slowly add on over the next few weeks to kind of rebuild again to try to minimize the soreness, because not being able to sit down on the toilet because you're so sore is not functional.
How many days this week did you work out?
I actually did 4 days.
So which was 0 to 4, maybe not.
Yeah, but they weren't very
not
long.
The
they were 20 to 30 minutes long. So I did ease my way into it. My little morning sickness remedy has been working with the B6 and Unisom. I only take it at night though, because otherwise I'm and I don't want to do that in the middle of the day because I have children to look after. And so I've had more energy.
They can't take care of themselves yet.
I know. I haven't needed to nap this week. Been working out a little bit more. And I had my first prenatal appointment with my midwife. So we are currently planning a home birth. I am going to establish some secondary care with a hospital clinic so that if for whatever reason during my pregnancy I do need to transition from home birth to hospital birth, I already have my care established with the provider that I'm familiar with. If for whatever reason during my labor I need to transfer, I know what hospital I'm going to go to for non-emergent things. And so I'm glad to have that secondary care kind of established. I haven't had my appointment with them yet, but I did have mine with my home birth midwife. And so our past 2 births have been home births, and so we're using the same midwife again. I really like that she takes my care very seriously. So it's not home birth or bust. It's home birth if we're safe, essentially. And so she is not going to mess around if there's complications or there's issues going on with birth. When it comes to home birth, we're not looking for red flags for the indicator to transfer during either pregnancy or birth. We're looking for pink flags. So things that maybe could lead towards more issues that we want to start reacting to now, as opposed to waiting for it to become an emergency. And so I feel very confident with her ability to provide quality care for me, both during my pregnancy and during my labor. And I trust her to keep me and my baby safe. I personally do not want to give birth without a provider. So free birth is never something that I'm interested in doing. But there's always that chance with a home birth provider that they don't make it to your labor in time because maybe things progress a little bit faster. And so if for whatever reason that happens, we will just call her and it'll be fine. Roxanne will be there as my step-in midwife, but we will see. Likely there will be plenty of time for her to be there because
you will be surprised if nobody makes it.
I usually have people come over a little bit earlier because it makes me anxious to be by myself. But we had our first appointment. What I really like about community birth is that you have really long appointments. So all my appointments with my midwife are at least 30 minutes to an hour long, which I know is not reasonable for a hospital-based provider because they just have they have a higher volume of patients that they have to move through. I have found with my previous providers that the appointments were always really short in the hospital. It was check on baby, check my fundus. Do you have any questions? Goodbye. And so this is where the secondary care where I can kind of have that checkbox appointment. I know the midwives with my secondary care are going to be a little bit more involved with my care, but I'll also be able to do all my ultrasounds and labs and stuff like with their clinic, which will be nice. But for my home birth provider, she is gonna she usually asks about like how am I doing, like what are my plans for the pregnancy, and we kind of have more opportunity to get to know one and each other and get to like really build my trust with her. And then my kids get to be a part of the appointment as well. So they like helped like listen to baby and like they got to be like involved in the process, and so I think that helps prepare them not only to have a new sibling but also to be a part of my labor as well. And so we'll do a lot of preparation throughout this pregnancy to kind of prep them for that. I acknowledge that home birth is not financially accessible to everybody because it is usually a pay out of pocket. It's commonly not covered by insurance. So we have to pay upfront by like a certain point in the pregnancy, and then my midwife will file like a super bill with insurance, and then we'll get partial reimbursement. So I think usually we got like 75% back, like as a refund from our insurance, but not every insurance covers it. And then how much they cover will vary depending on how much the midwife charges versus how much they say that they'll cover. And so then it could potentially not be financially accessible. And so if community birth is something that like you are interested in, it could be worth looking at like different payment plans. Is there a midwife that wants to do a trade? And so there's a midwife in our area that has like a sliding scale depending on like your income. And so if you make more, you pay more. If you make less, you pay less. And she was nervous about first putting it out there, but she found that it actually like evens out really well, where people are like very generous when they are making more money and they acknowledge like, yeah, I'm going to pay more because this is going to give this offering to somebody else who maybe makes less than I do. And so she's been surprised that it has actually worked out really well for her, because she was nervous. It was like, what if I only get like folks I can only pay a little bit? Like, how am I going to sustain that? And she says it's been surprisingly like very wonderful to be able to provide this for other folks. You can also look at like birth centers. There are some like birth houses as well. And there's like different options when it comes to midwives too. So there are options for community birth, which is giving birth outside of the hospital, if that is something that you're interested in. But again, I know that it's not financially accessible to everybody. And so I do want to just like acknowledge that like I will be sharing about my personal preparation throughout this pregnancy while preparing for a home birth, and then sharing how I'm utilizing a hospital-based clinic as well to support my pregnancy. And so just to prepare for that, if you're not planning to give birth at home, it's okay. These episodes are still going to be beneficial for you.
At least the first half, where I share my knowledge.
Yeah, just stop listening to me.
Stop listening to Gina.
I won't have any mood swings because of that.
She might cry on her way home if you tell us that you did listen to her.
So overall, I'm feeling pretty good. I have more energy. The nausea has subsided substantially, so I'm able to work out. I'm starting to feel more like myself again, or as much as you can while pregnant. And it was really exciting to be able to have that first visit with our midwives where we can hear baby and we can see that things are progressing really well and normally, because it's always kind of a point of anxiety for me, is like hitting these different milestones of like what can go wrong at this milestone. And so it was very relieving to be able to hear the baby and know that everything was going hopefully pretty well. So yeah. So if you are pregnant and on this journey with me, be sure to comment down below to let us know how you are feeling. Did you have your first prenatal appointment yet? Or when are you going to your prenatal appointment? We're happy to answer any of your questions that you may be having about like what kind of questions should I be asking my provider if I go to my appointment? Like, how do I find a provider? Like, there's so many different options out there for you. And figuring it out in your first trimester or the beginning of your second trimester is a really good place to start. So thanks so much for listening to the Mama Stay Fit week by week pregnancy update. If you want more support throughout your pregnancy, you're feeling better, and you want to start moving your body intentionally, check out our prenatal fitness programs, where we give you a day-by-day guide to how to move confidently throughout your pregnancy so you can stay strong and pain-free, because pain is not a requirement of pregnancy, while also preparing for birth with our birth preparation exercises and pelvic floor exercises. You can bundle our prenatal finish with our childbirth education course, and you can start childbirth education now. Like, you don't have to wait until the week before your birth, because you can start figuring out what options that you're wanting, start choosing your provider and where you want to give birth now rather than waiting until you're like 34 weeks when it maybe is too late. So our childbirth education course is going to help you to learn about your options, learn about what you can do to prepare for birth so that you can also navigate both your pregnancy and your labor confidently. So check out our online courses on our website at mamastayfit.com, and you can use code YouTube10 to get 10% off any of our online offerings. And the prenatal fitness and childbirth education can be bundled together to save an additional 15% off.